Hello, good afternoon, my dear.
Afternoon, how are you?
I'm superb.
I love how we're matchy today.
Yeah, the colors and all, right? And I should just grab the glasses.
Cut,
To,
okay?
yeah, should
It was
just.
not predetermined.
There you
Perfect.
go. The perfect match, yeah?
We are twinning now.
So for many of your friends or your circles, people know you in the areas of facilitation and the learning work that you do. Besides that, you do something else. So perhaps you want to introduce yourself and what else you do.
Okay, so Gurit the trainer has now become Gurit the baker.
Oh wow. And since when and when did that passion even ever
We
started?
can give great thanks to the pandemic that's going around. We can give great thanks to COVID-19 for
Uh-huh.
basically pushing or pivoting me into this new realm of work that I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
So it all began well, initially I was in full-time employment
Mm.
up to October last year when I quit my full-time job to start freelancing. The freelancing, the lure of freelancing was too great, and I kept getting people telling me, you should do this on your own. You should go out and attempt this on your own. And finally, at the age of 55, when I turned 55, I thought, oh, this will be a perfect time to do this.
Yep.
And so I quit, and it was looking really good. So in October, I had a really good pipeline of work stretching right till the middle of this year. I had training lined up in even in countries. I had Indonesia, I had Philippines, I had India, Singapore, Malaysia. I had all these countries lined up. I had a lot of local programs as well.
Mm.
So it was looking really good.
Mm.
And then, of course, come January, when news of COVID started hitting our shores, people were getting a little bit apprehensive, and so clients started saying things like, "Well, you know what? Maybe we should just put this on hold for a little while." And so
And that little while just went little while.
by March, it became, no, I don't think we can do this anymore. And then, of course, the MCO started. So everything just totally dried up. The pipeline just came to an abrupt halt. There was nothing in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I'm a very optimistic person, very positive, and I kept thinking, yeah, I mean, how long can this last? It'll go away soon
Mm-hmm.
enough. And it actually was like kind of good timing as well because my daughter had just come back from overseas, and so I got to spend a lot of time with her.
Nice.
Good, we were at home all the time, and we would get into the kitchen, we would cook 3 meals a day, sometimes even more. Just to keep ourselves busy, we would prepare lunch, we would prepare breakfast, lunch, tea, dinner, dessert, everything. We would do so much. And then she would start baking and baking breads. She was really into baking breads and all that. And so, yeah, that went on for about a couple of weeks. And
Uh-huh.
then we started getting like, oh, this is getting tough.
Yep.
And then come mid May, we were
Mm.
into May by then. Um, it was financially, I was still managing because we had savings and everything, so we were still okay. But then come May started becoming a little bit of a worry, like, okay, what if it doesn't carry on? What if it doesn't become okay? What do we do then? And a friend called me up and said, what are you going to do? Because I used to do a lot of training for her,
Mm-hmm.
and she said, what are you going to do? And I said, I've got no idea what to do. And she said, well, what are you good at? And I said, well, I can bake, I can bake. And she said, well, yeah, great, bake me a cake. I need a cake. She had an event coming, a function coming up and at
Mm-hmm.
home. And so that's what I did. I baked her a cake.
So you must
And
have some secret recipe book seated somewhere in your house, I'm guessing.
yes, do I had an old recipe book from when I was a teenager. So my mom was a good cook, a very good cook. My dad is a good cook. Um, and in my mid-teens, and when we were growing up, my brother and I, every single birthday, mom would bake us a cake. every birthday. We always had cake, and it was always ice frosted, buttercream and everything.
So it's
So
always homemade cake.
it's always. I mean, I didn't know what it was like to have a bought cake because we never had bought cake. It was always homemade.
Oh, okay.
Around my mid-teens, I started compiling recipes from my mom's old recipe book,
Mm-hmm.
started writing it into my own recipe book.
Nice.
And with the thought that, one day I'm going to be married and I'm going to move away and I'm going to need, that very idealistic kind of thinking that
I'm gonna be baking. Yeah.
I need to cook for my husband, blah, blah. you know.
My children and my grandchildren.
I started compiling these recipes and everything. And initially, because I did move after getting married, I did move to New Zealand, and I was there for about 6 years. So that recipe book came in very, very handy. Um, all the and it was like very basic, very basic recipes that you need to cook on a daily basis, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The few, of course, the cakes and stuff like that. And those days, you don't have Google that you can just type in you want to do a banana cake and the banana cake recipe comes up. We didn't
Yep.
have all that. So the only thing you have is your recipe book.
Yep.
So that's what I relied on a lot. So the pages of this recipe book are really worn and like well thumbed. Some are even fading in certain places. Yeah, so there was this one particular recipe that was very popular among family and friends, and it's just a simple orange cake, but it's a orange drizzle cake, and it's topped with a chocolate ganache.
I saw that. I saw that on your Instagram.
So that that was the cake that I made one day at home during the MCO, and I jokingly said to my daughter at the time, I said, worst case scenario, if we don't get any work, we can bake cakes and we'll sell it. This is such a popular cake. And of course, the girl was trying to humor me, like make mommy happy. And so she took out a notebook and she started writing down the ingredients and she started putting costing to the entire ingredients.
Uh-huh.
And then she came up with a figure and she goes, Mommy, you can sell the cake for this amount. And we're like, yeah, very funny, haha. I know it was a joke. So like, yeah, okay, put the book away. And we left it for a couple of weeks. And so when my friend called me up and asked me what I'm going to do, she actually said, what cake? And I said, this particular cake. And so that was the very first cake that got sold.
Law of attraction.
First cake that got sold. And the rest, as they say, is history. She passed the word around. I created a Facebook page. I created an Instagram page. And the next thing you know, orders started coming in. I even got total strangers calling me up, asking me for cake. And of course, because everyone was at home, everyone like had that time to, sit down, have tea and cake and coffee and cake kind of thing.
Yep.
So yeah, there was a lot of interest.
And for those friends that wants to check out that Instagram page is called the Memory Lane Baker, you will probably be really staring at it and you should give Gurit a call after that.
Is the Memory Lane Baker and Instagram Memory Lane Baker. So even the name, because the name Memory Lane Baker came up was thought up by my daughter as well because she said, what do you think we should call this? And I said, well, these cakes from my childhood, and they evoke every single cake that I make evokes some kind of a memory, either of childhood or when I lived overseas, or
Nice.
it's got something sentimental attached to it. It's got something that evokes something in me. And I thought I want to do that for people as well. So I want you to get a taste of this cake and to let that be a treasured memory for you as well. Especially when it comes to special occasions, you want something that's gonna linger, and you think when I had that cake, that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's what triggered off the name as well, the Memory Lane Baker.
It's also nice to have a mother daughter together in a business.
Yeah, so initially during the MCO, when there were lots and lots of orders, like over the weekend, I would make there would be at least 5 or 6 cakes that would go out, and it did get quite because I would deliver as well. So
Mm.
I roped my husband and my daughter in as well. So we would like, you go and deliver to this house, I'll go deliver here, you go deliver there. So we sort of like helped each other out a little bit.
That's nice. That's
Yeah,
nice.
so we kind of got that going.
Wow. It's
What I
probably
like to
never
do,
in your plan to have a mother and daughter business, isn't it?
oh no, it wasn't. Yeah, so
Yeah.
she's instrumental in a lot of these things that came up. And
Mm.
what I like to do is uh the cakes that I make are not, they're not like, I didn't want to do the run of the mill cakes that you get in most bakeries, because you
Mhm.
would get a marble cake, you would get a butter cake, you would get a chocolate cake, you would get the normal cakes that you
Yep.
find in most bakeries.
Yep.
Um, and a lot of people actually have not tasted something that is not from a shop, as
Mm-hmm.
in, and the cakes that you get in a lot of bakeries these days is like a thick layer of cream, but it's not really butter icing. It's not buttercream. It could be whipped cream. Some people like that, but those of us who have actually been have tried the original homemade kind of cakes and icing, you will find that the substance of the cake is it's a lot more solid. It's a lot more dense. There's a lot more crumb to it,
Mm.
and of course the icing is sweeter. And so it's different. It's different. Some people like it. Some people find it a bit sweet. So I always want, I said, some of my cakes, the ones that are iced especially, I always say that, it is buttercream. It's American buttercream. So it will be a little bit sweeter. And some people, yeah, 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 we want that. So it's like
Ah.
something that they really enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not easy to get one of those that very authentic ones like the ones that you're doing, right?
And, you can taste it, the difference, because if you only use like butter and if you only use premium ingredients, you can actually taste the difference in the cake. So, yeah,
Oh,
that's how it all began. And
yeah. Everything else is history.
training will still be a big part.
Mm.
I mean, that is still the main business, of course,
Mm-hmm.
something that I'm good at. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
about to let that go.
Mm-hmm.
But baking is like something that I enjoy. It is tiring because you're spending it's a labor of love. It is a labor of love. You spend long hours in the kitchen, and it's hot, sweaty work. But yeah, if you enjoy it and you see the results that come out, it's like so satisfying. And then
And
you
you
get
include the
back,
whole family. That's like quite an enjoyable thing.
you get feedback from people, and they said that they really enjoyed it, they loved it, and it feels good. And what I like to do is with each cake that goes out, I've got these little cards that I've printed out, and I add a personalized note to it as well. So it sort of like adds a little bit something to it.
Oh, nice.
So each cake gets
Nice.
a personalized note.
Yeah, that's the way to homemade, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah. So yeah,
Wow.
that's what I do.
So you must have learned a lot during this period of pandemic.
Yes. Initially I had a staple of about 4 or 5 that I didn't want to deviate from, because I said, no, I'm not going to do the butter cakes and the chocolate cakes and the carrot cakes. You can get that in any bakery, and I didn't want to do that. So I stuck to the slightly more unusual cake. So there's the Victorian coffee cake.
Mm-hmm.
There
Mm-hmm.
is my the orange drizzle with
Mm-hmm.
chocolate ganache.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very unusual cake, which is the golden
Nice.
ginger cake.
Oh,
It's
that's a
un,
big
it's
name.
un,
Yeah.
yeah, it is very unusual. A lot of people have never tried a ginger cake.
Yep.
It's divine. It's really, really good.
So in
The
terms
hint of
of business, I learned a few things. So adaptability, the pivoting and change, and also selecting that unique propositions of yours. So you didn't go the way where most people choose the common route to take. You took the less common route to take by selecting a little bit more unusual recipes. Wow.
it was only when like some when the demand became a little bit overwhelming that people were clamoring for chocolate cake. So I said, okay, all right, fine, I will make chocolate cake. So eventually the chocolate cake came into the equation as well.
Mm.
And I mean, if anybody like seriously wanted a particular type of cake, then yeah, I would definitely make it for you. Um, And uh, and the other one that I just recently started making the no bake cheesecakes as well.
Mm.
But the problem with the no bake cheesecakes in our climate, they do
Sit
not
well.
well. Even that short distance to get it from my place to yours, it's going to go. Psh.
Yeah,
So it's like, yeah, it's a bit.
got it.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I learned very, very precious business lessons with this chat with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's precious little things that we learn from a day to day like this.
Yeah, I think the key thing here is um, you got to be agile. You've got to be adaptable. You've got to pivot. You cannot when things are bad. You cannot just sit there and say, "Oh my God, woe is me. What do I do?" Who's going to come and rescue me? No one's going to come and rescue you. You got to just get off your bum and just go rescue yourself.
Yep.
you know,
Very
um,
much brutally, that's the word, right?
yes, nobody is going to get off and say, "Oh, here, you take, I'll take care of you." No, it doesn't work like that. So yeah, we gotta think of what's going to put food on the table.
Yep. Yep.
That's all there is to it.
Yes.
Hmm.
Thank you so much for this afternoon sessions of sharing. I love your sharing and love to bring you back anytime that I could.
Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thanks for
you.
having me, Andrea. It was a real pleasure
Thanks.
talking to you.
Thanks. It was really nice talking to you too.
Yeah. So hopefully we chat again soon then.
Yes. Bye for now.
All right. Thank
Bye.
you.